Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all ships at sea. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you an important message from the Prepared Mind Network.
Oh!
I know we can do this together because I know this. There's nothing beyond our capacity.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. Yes, an extra long start. I had to take a couple of shots to get ready and warmed up. Which Joe do we have? Literally, which Joe do we have? Do we have this Joe, you know, the guy who's competing with Joseph Stalin and Adolf Hitler? Or do we have the idiot who makes words up and can't read a teleprompter? Hard to say. Folks, that's the world we've got. It's a bizarre world. It's bizarro world. It's shit hitting the fan. Now, we got some new great stuff there in the beginning. I ran while I was getting ready and getting tucked in here at the office. And it has been a hell of a day. Wow. You know, I get up and I got to do the 0 Dark 30 message. And I think I'm getting my old hang back. If you remember, years ago, I used to talk about one subject a day. And I would talk about it for, you know, anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, you know, depending on how much scotch I had and how strongly I felt about my opinions of shit going to hit the fan in the future. Well, here we are. It has hit the fan in the future. And it is off the hook. I want to start with this one right off the bat. And you tell me if this is not Bizarro World. But yes, I know. The title of this video is World War III? Question mark. Well, before we get to that big enchilada, that big question, I want to get to this. Folks, we got yanked off of PayPal, right? We got a big freaking fighting match with Patreon, you know. We've been given strikes many times by YouTube. We got kicked right off of TikTok. Like day 2. They're like, you're out of here. We don't like you, you big guy. Anyways, guess what? Guess who else has been kicked off of PayPal, kicked off of Venmo? Oh, we also got kicked off of, it's that video service that kind of competes with YouTube, Venmo, Verimo, EIEIO. I can't remember the name of it. Jolene will put it up on the screen because she remembers. She was particularly pissed off too. We got kicked off there like day 3. Vimeo, thank you, Jolene. She is on the ball. Yes. Anyways, who else has gotten kicked off of PayPal and Venmo? Not Vimeo, but Venmo. None other than Gays Against Groomers. Gays Against Groomers have been permanently deplatformed, folks, from PayPal, which is a bank, and Venmo, which is a money-changing service. Why? Well, because Gays Against Groomers are people who don't think that they ought to be out there soliciting children to become little sex toys. And they have been doing something very similar, Gays Against Groomers. Well, they were anyways, kind of like libs of TikTok, right? Coming out and just putting the truth out there and saying, no, this should have never happened, should have never happened. But guess what, folks? It has. And there's nothing going to stop it now. Gays can't turn that pride parade around, right? They're going all the way down when it comes to being immoral. And they want like exclusive rights to being the most disgusting people on the planet. Anyways, Gays Against Groomers, there'll be none of that. You will not have an opposing voice. You'll not have an opposing voice, even if you are gay. I thought they were a protected class, right? Along with every other fruitcake out there. I thought they were all protected. No. Only if, right, you say and do the right things. And before we get to World War III, I want to do this again. I want to say, hey, it's time to play Let's Take a Wild Guess. Are you correct? Take a wild guess, folks. In Divide County, a high school football player, which means he's 18 or younger, high school football player suffered a cardiac arrest during a game. That never, folks, ever happened in my life that I can recall. I know that people who take steroids, right, they take a lot of steroids and they want the big muscles, right? After 10 years, 20 years, you can really do damage to your heart. John Paul Sigmarsson, right, he had a heart attack. He was a world's strongest man competitor, world's strongest man champion, in fact. But yeah, he had a heart attack. Could have been the steroids, right? But this is a high school boy. Unbelievable, folks. By the way, we're going to do my monologue followed by your questions because it's the Q&A today. It is Taco Tuesday. It's Two for Tuesday. It's Tuesday. It is September the 20th. Shit has hit the fan, folks. Get your questions in down below into the questions and section, the comments. Send them to Jolene via email, whatever it takes. But this was a big World War III move today. And I still don't think it's happened, but we were told that Putin is going to give a major speech on what Russia is going to do with and about and to Ukraine with regard and with respect to their special military operations. Now, it's widely speculated, and Uman, I'm sure, will put right up here on the screen any news alerts, any flashes that come up. Same with Chris B. Bacon. They're probably going to give, hopefully we get some kind of answer. What is Putin up to, right? A possible national war mobilization? A mandatory, shall we say, draft of all Russian men within certain ages? Right, apply at the military office. You're going to be sent to war. How about this? They're going to change the special military operations, the SMO, into a full-blown war, a full-blown declaration of war. And I'm sure Putin will do it in accord with international law. So, as far as I know, we're still on a World War III standby alert with Russia. The question I have is, what is the United States going to do about it? The United States is afraid of Russia. Not me and you, but the government in D.C. They don't know what to make out of Putin. Every time they try something, folks, going all the way back to President Obama. And I do hate to call him that, but, you know, what the hell. Barack Hussein Barry Soetoro Obama. Every time the United States Department of State, Pentagon, or president tried anything, they just got made to be looking a fool. And right now, folks, Putin is trolling the world. They're on the edge of their seats. They're biting their nails. Are we going to get World War III? Just a couple of weeks ago, if you recall, there was a lot of discussion. Well, Russia's going to use a tactical nuclear weapon. And then we were told what? A couple of weeks ago that, well, a German guy came out and said that September 24th, something is going to change the way you think. And then other people are like, no, he didn't really say that. And then I got an interesting police blotter memo update, right, saying this week, you know, police be specially alert, you know, potential terror actions. Then we find out that Venezuela is releasing their prisoners from jail, violent offenders, and sending them to the United States border. You know, what is World War III going to look like, folks? Is it going to be a drone war? Is it going to be a cyber war? Is it going to be a weather weapons war? Is it going to be a financial war, a monetary war? Is the military even going to be involved in this war? Will it be nuclear, limited nuclear, super secret double probation nuclear? We're on World War III standby alert, folks. Oh, it's an energy war. And we also know it is a war over the unipolar nature of the world. That is to say, the Western oligarchs running the entire geopolitical structure, including money, finance, economics, and food. What's for dinner? It used to be beef. What's for dinner? It used to be pork, the other white meat. And now we have these sick people in the White House. Do you remember when Biden was being elected? There was this disgusting, filthy Democrat woman who said she wouldn't care if Biden was killing and boiling babies to eat. She would still vote for him. Yeah, baby, the other white meat, I guess. These are the same people, folks, who stand up in the street and scream that they love killing babies. They are the ungodly. They are disgusting, filthy, vile creatures who barely, folks, qualify as human. But speaking of human, they are dehumanizing us. They want us to be thought of as garbage. And they think of children. And I am making a complete circle back in Jen Psaki style. I'm circling back on that first article, reading about what the gays against grooming, and who treats who like who, right? An Arizona state senator has accused in Arizona the Department of Child Safety. In California, they called it the Child Protective Services, CPS. Well, the senator has accused the Department of Child Safety for facilitating, that is, trafficking a children's sex ring after 550 children have gone missing. Not five, folks, not 55, but 550 children. And when you ask about this many children just disappearing from a government-run agency, you have to ask yourself, right? Why do they continue to treat children like sex toys and want them groomed and want them sexualized by drag queens? And why do they want to legalize minor attracted persons? Where's Jizzy Maxwell, right? Where's Jeffrey Epstein? You know, the Clintons' bestest buddies. Folks, shit hitting the fan is about everything. World War III is about everything. Unbelievable. Get your questions in, folks. Get your questions in. And remember when we played Take a Wild Guess the other day? Hey, it's time to take a wild guess. Well, we have a winner. Remember when the drag queen dropped dead on stage? Well, that person's name was Valencia Prime. This sounds like some kind of special orange juice. Anyways, this person was a pro-vax person. Death due to cardiovascular failure problems. Yep, if you guessed that the drag queen was pro Jim Jones juice, then you were correct. You are a winner. The prize: knowledge, wisdom, intelligence. Apply it well. Prep to action. All right. Let us move on if we shall. This is a big one. I tell you guys often, I like to bring you good news. Well, there was this, we'll call this person a gun rights activist. They won a huge case, folks, in the Supreme Court. It was the Heller decision. Huge pro-Second Amendment, pro-people's rights. Well, Heller went back to court and has now won against the D.C. government again and got them to drop the limits on rounds carried. You see, I don't understand why we have to continue to play this game. Okay, the people have a right to keep and bear arms. Okay, the people have an individual right to keep and bear arms. The people have an individual right to protect themselves. The people have the right to protect others using deadly force. The people, us, me and you, we have rights. Shall not be infringed. We keep having to have these gun cases and we keep winning them, which is good. Even in California, high capacity magazine law, which now are now considered standard capacity, is not flying, doesn't win. Even with these radical freaking people that the Democrats have put on the Supreme Court, right? We're still winning. The Sotomayor, who I don't think can speak English. We had whatever her name was, Jackson Brown, Ketanji Jackson Brown, I believe was her name. Can't define what a woman is. Unbelievable. Just unfreaking believable. And I'm glad we're still winning these gun cases. But folks, the court system is a complete and total shambles. Get this. I know I pick on the mainstream media a lot, but they did something right. But hold your ground. Don't put your finger on that cancel John button. Get this. The Department of Justice was forced to remove a filing in the Trump Mar-a-Lago case. The paper that was pulled apparently was submitted by not the Southern Poverty Law Center, not any human rights organization. It was filed by a prison inmate, and it was the mainstream media who caught it, demonstrating that the Department of Justice is a clown show, that Merrick Garland is the king of clowns. Merrick the ding-dong Garland. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, folks, what is going on. Is it the Department of Justice or is it the Department of, disgustness, drugs, disease, rock and roll? These people are all sick. I love rock and roll and whatever. But they can't, what is their job anymore? The President of the United States, Xi, big guy Joe Biden, comes out over the weekend and says, hey, pandemic's over. Cerveza bug is done. It's done. Well, I believe, folks, the health department shortly after that came out and agreed with Biden's statement. Well, today, the U.S. Surgeon General clown, Vivek Murthy, is now contradicting Herr Biden. The Führer Biden says that it is not over. So General Buttsnarf, Surgeon General, says no. Who is in charge? Who is in authority in Washington, D.C.? Who told Biden to say that it's over? And then who authorized old Vivek Murthy, right? General Surgeon Buttsnarf man. Who told him he gets to override the president and go out and just go ahead and say it? Folks, we're getting more contradiction and we're getting more Fauci dicting. We're getting dicked around by these people again, more and more, left and right. Every time we turn around or bend over, we're getting it. Unbelievable. Jolene. I hope we've got some great questions today. I'm really curious what you guys want to talk about. It is your show on the second half. It really is. I mean, get this. Clown world. No wonder we're going into World War III. No wonder Vladimir Putin is going, you know what? We're leaving America, Canada, Europe, England. We're leaving you all behind. You're a bunch of idiots. And if that wasn't enough, remember Beyond Meat? I've described it as basically yeast, vomit, and piss and poop. That's what Beyond Meat is. It's ingredients made to taste like cow blood, right? Artificial flavor in soy meat. Blah. Beyond Meat, their chief operating officer, their COO, guess what he did? He went to a college football game and got in a fight. And then he bit a man's nose. What did he do? Did he go to the Mike Tyson School of Fighting? Is this guy a vegetarian or is he a mad cow maniac? Start asking yourself some serious questions as I give you satire. I said, folks, that these people that take the Jim Jones juice, they're going to lose their shit. They're going to start falling apart. Right? Boil babies and eat them, huh? Okay, sure. You're sure. Bite a man's nose off, huh? Well, I don't think he bit his nose off, but he certainly, gave him a big bite of him. That's the people in charge. Those are the very powerful people who have vegetarian and leftist mentality. Sometimes I swear this is a comedy show. I'm very serious. World War III is a risk because Putin has had enough of the world's stupidity. What are they threatening him with now that we don't know about? And he's like, you know what, fuckers? You want to play that way? Yeah. But get this, folks. It really is incredible what is going on. In Bexar or Bexar or Bihar County, Texas, the sheriff, as I talked about earlier, is opening a criminal investigation into Florida Governor DeSantis because he's sending illegals to Martha's Vineyard. Well, if you think that's rich, and if you think DeSantis gives a flying fuck at a rolling donut over what any of these liberals think, well, guess what? DeSantis is now sending a plane load of illegal migrants to Georgetown via Biden's beach bungalow. That's right. He's sending them into Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and to Georgetown. Unbelievable what is going on, folks. They want to investigate Governor DeSantis because, he lured them onto the plane. He tricked them into getting on the plane. Folks, these are illegals. And when a government agent catches them, they're like, hey, no hable, right? And they're like, just get on the plane, get on the bus. You could tell them to get in a submarine and they'd be like, okay, I'll do what you say, and just don't shoot me. Right? They know that what they're doing is wrong. And they know that when they see, right, federales, that is police with guns and badges, you don't mess with the police. You just do what they say. Well, they say, hey, would you like to get on this plane? And they're like, oh, whatever you say, man, with the badge. They don't care because they just come across the border and they start getting money and lots of people waving at them. Anyways, I gotta love what's going on with DeSantis. He's just laughing his ass off. He is trolling them and he is triggering them. And it's funny that the term triggered is used by the left so much, right? You Republicans, you're triggering us. You're microaggressing us, right? To be triggered, well, that denotes pulling a trigger. That's talking about a gun. They're always saying, you triggered me and I'm triggered and that triggered me. It pulled their trigger. It set them off. Everything about them is violent, folks. Violent. They're all violent. All right. Let us move on if we shall. Let me get this. I make light of what's being done with these illegals, but they truly are incredibly dangerous. A triple deported. That means 3 times this jackass has been sent back over the border, right? Are illegals dangerous? Hell yeah. Are all of them dangerous? No. But the ones that are incredibly dangerous. A 3-time triple deported illegal alien was arrested again. What has he done? A bunch of crimes, including, folks, sexual assault. Not 1, not 2 sexual assaults, not even 3, 4, or 5 sexual assaults. How many times has this fucking scumbag sexually assaulted people in America? 21 times. Criminal behavior and an additional 21 sexual assaults. Biden did this, folks. He is doing this. This is not the only criminal. It's not like he's on the FBI's most wanted list next to John Dillinger and Al Capone. Oh, and of course, Donald Trump. There's a bunch of these people, folks. They're killing people. They're raping people. They're robbing people. They're kidnapping children. They're smuggling children. They're kidnapping women. They're smuggling women. They're prostituting women. They're prostituting everyone they can because they're criminals, folks. And Biden has opened up the border. Somewhere between 5 and 4 million people have come across the border, given a plane ticket or a bus ticket, told to get on that plane or bus by the president, his authority. But when DeSantis does it, when Governor Abbott from Texas does it, oh, that's all wrong and bad. Bunch of hypocrites, bunch of liars. Unbelievable. I mean, DeSantis came out and responded and said, they said they were a sanctuary destination, speaking of Martha's Vineyard. So he says, hey, give me a break, right? Unbelievable. And yes, DeSantis is trolling the shit out of them. I really wish there were more real governors out there. But when the world is so wrong, you would think there'd be more moral, decent people standing up going, we've had enough of this. We're going to take care of the problems. No, instead, it's almost like the Republicans hide even more. It's embarrassing, the number of rhinos that are out there. That is Republicans in name only. Anyways, speaking of DeSantis down in Florida, that state prosecutor who got suspended, got his office desk cleaned out by DeSantis. If you're not going to do your job, you're out of here. If you're illegal, you're getting on a bus to Delaware or Martha's Vineyard or Kamala Harris's front lawn. Governor DeSantis, we need more DeSantis's. We need to put that guy in a machine and clone him and put one in each state. Yeah. This prosecutor, this scumbag leftist prosecutor, denied you will not get your job back. Denied. Too bad. We don't care if Soros is funding you. These scum folks, they need to get their asses thrown out of office. Anyways. Oh, guess what? We're almost out of time. It's almost your turn. So get your questions in down below for Jolene. But guess what? It's time to play Take a Wild Guess. John, we've already done it a couple times today. Are you telling me that many people? Yeah, I'm telling you. It's happening more and more and more. And it's getting into the news more. I mean, these are regular people. In Hawaii, 24-year-old surfer Kalani David has a seizure and dies while surfing. Take a wild guess. I don't know for sure, but take a wild guess why a 24-year-old surfer in Hawaii dies. Now, I got to tell you, I've been to Hawaii, and you are very relaxed in Hawaii. Right? It's like the chill state. I know it's also got the COVID state and some other bullshit going on, but for the most part, Hawaii is no stress, no problem, man, right? No worries. How did this guy suffer a seizure? 24-year-old surfer, once again, athlete. And if you don't think surfers are athletic, you got another thing coming. You got to paddle your ass out through the waves. You got to get up on a board, balance it. You got to cut the waves, and then you get attacked. I call it attack. I've never surfed, right? But the wave crushes you and rolls you around. You got to swim and figure that shit out. And one thing I did see that was really cool, I was on North Shore of Maui back in 2010, and there were literally turtles in the waves. Turtles were surfing. I've heard of dolphin surfing too, but turtles are surfing. And anytime a surfer got near the turtles, they would like dive off their boards and just take a head plant just to avoid hitting the Hanu. Good stuff. I loved Hawaii, man. It was just, what a bitchin' place. It's too bad. The people are great. I love islanders, but the politicians are fucking morons. Yeah, take a wild guess, right? Take a wild guess. One last trolling in honor of Governor DeSantis. He's trolling California Governor Newscum. And this is what he said, quote, "I think his hair gel is interfering with his brain function." That's good stuff, right? Because Governor Newscum of California said that he sent a letter, Newscum did, to the Department of Justice to investigate DeSantis shipping migrants around the country. How awful is that, right? I think I remember when this whole idea of sanctuary cities started. I was in California. This is decades ago now, folks, like 20 years ago. They started the sanctuary city shit. We're like, no. You don't give sanctuary to criminals. You don't condone criminals. You don't decriminalize crime. You prosecute it. It's too much. I mean, it really is. It really is. I mean, and people are fighting back around the world. I know I'm going over into the second half. I know, I get it, but I can't help it, folks. I started this video, World War III. Well, World War II is repeating, folks. It's history in the repeating making, right? The Italian Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, said the leftists who call us fascist used to be Bolshevists. Meaning, folks, in Italy, they have communists in their government. And of course, they're accusing everyone else of doing exactly what they're doing, and that is screwing the people over in the name of the people. And I'm ready to do it, folks. I'm ready to, hey, time to play Take a Wild Guess. I'm not shitting you. There's that many of these stories. A police officer dies suddenly at home. 39-year-old police officer in Minnesota dies suddenly at home. Take a wild guess. I mean, is it really that hard? Folks, get out there, take your Jim Jones juice. Do as the goose-stepping liberals say. Take your Jim Jones juice. Unbelievable, folks. Let's do this. Let's get to the Q&A. It is now your turn. It's your turn. What do you want to talk about? And if you're on thepreparedmind.club, if you're on subscribestar.com at thepreparedmind, guess what? You get to ask questions all week long. It's now your turn.
Are you ready?
All right, Jolene has let me know that we have a lot of questions. So let's get into it. Who's up first? Jolene. Who wants to take a shot? It's the Charlanator. And she says, the community colleges my son goes to is thinking about eliminating a test to prove the students' mastery of the subject. In calculus, I am not a fan of calculus. Woo! But I would not expect at the collegiate level to get into a calculus class or to pass it unless I mastered it. I'm sure. I wonder, Charlanator, are they getting rid of the mastery of the subject because it's a racist slave term, which it really isn't a slave term? Or, right, is it that they just want to make sure they can get all the money out of people they can, whether or not they know how to do the math? I'm sure they'll get rid of mastery of calculus, then mastery of algebra, and mastery of basic math, and just give everyone a degree in mathematics. That's it. Give me $100 and I'll proclaim, I'll bless everyone and say, yes, you're all masters of math. You are now joined amongst the ranks of people like Sir Isaac Newton. Oh, yes, you're all as brilliant as Newton because we're a college and we can say that. All right, let's move on if we shall. Thank you very much, Charlanator. Now we've got Doc Holliday, the king of capital letters. He says the United States now fully meets the definition of a fascist communist country. This will continue to get worse until the proper action by the people is taken. I agree. What is the proper action, Doc Holliday? I know I can't promote dangerous or harmful ideas. I know I can't glamorize violence and all those naughty things. I can't do that. I can't imply that taking violent action is a good idea. I can't be the leader of an insurrectionist. But I'm going to tell you right now, nothing ever gets fixed with tyrants. They never go, you know what? We've seen our evil ways. We realize we've made an error, and now we're going to behave. We're going to restore your rights and quit stomping on them. We're going to quit being assholes and taxing you. We're going to quit telling you what to do because you're a free person. Tyrants never do that. They always must be deposed, that is, removed from office. And it looks like, Doc Holliday, we're moving away from free and fair elections, right? And we're moving away from the idea that some voters should not be disenfranchised. I think every Trump voter back in 2020 was disenfranchised because of what happened. And it's come out, folks. The videos have come out, the documentaries have come out, the proof has come out, but we need to be more concerned about those rascally Republicans on January 6th who were standing amongst left-wing agitators who committed acts of violence and were, subsequently accused of being the cause, the root, the source of those acts of violence, which was redefined as insurrection. Whew. Welcome to the fascist communist government of Washington, D.C., that the United States of America are suffering under the control of. Thank you much, Doc. And then moving on, we have Silver Eagle 78. He says, oh my goodness. He says, I'll take dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery for 500, John. I'll tell you what. Who said that? Who said I'll take dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery? I know the answer. Do you? It's a very famous quote by one of our very famous founding fathers who lived at the very famous time known as 1776, who witnessed, folks, the efforts of tyrants and despots and scumbags and thieves who all ran the British government and then the colonial governments in America. The founding fathers put up with that shit until they no longer could put up with that shit, and they fought back. They fought back first and organized second. And they fought like hell. And then they forged themselves into a true army. And then they defeated their enemy. Because, folks, they all decided that dangerous freedom, being free, was better than peaceful slavery. Yeah, folks, if you are put in the manacles of slavery, you'll get peace, but only if you continue to obey. And folks, I don't think you want to see what it's like to obey a tyrannical government. I prefer, shall we say, opposing very loudly with lots of freedom seeds, tyrants, than living one day as a slave to them and letting them believe they have defeated me. Let us move on if we shall. What do we have next? We have Ooman. Thank you, Ooman, for stepping on up. And what he's referring to here is Putin's speech to the world regarding what Russia is going to do about Ukraine. Right? He says, the latest story I can find is that Putin's speech has been postponed with no info on when it's going to be unpostponed. Tell you what, Putin has the world on a string. Right? We may as well bring out Frank Sinatra, except I would get hit with a copyright strike if we did the swinging on a star. Whew. Putin, yeah, he's trolling everybody, even us, right? I'm like, okay, man, let's hear it. And it's like, I'm waiting for Putin still. I tell you what. President Trump the other day asked how much more Democrat corruption and destruction the American people are willing to stand. And I say, folks, the American people are going to suffer all that the Democrats can throw at them until they have suffered every indignity and every crime. Every indignity. Well, to be called an enemy of the state, to be thought of as the enemy of the state, to be called deplorable, disposable, to be called less than human by the Democrats. Well, those are indignities. And then crime. What is the greatest crime the Democrats in government can commit? The greatest crime they commit are complete overt acts of tyranny and treason. We haven't had that yet. They have a lot further to go, folks, before we stand up and go, we're done. We're willing to take a stand now because There's nothing else to return to. Let's do this. Let's get to the next question. Jolene, who do we have next? We got Muho, and he says, when the lights go out, you will be making twine from twigs. LOL twist technique. And if you guys want to know, right, how to make primitive ropes, you need to tune in to the Urban Aboriginal, Rudy. And Rudy, if you're listening, man, I know that you listen from time to time or all the time. And I can't, it's so hard to take your calls, man. But I hope everything's good with you, Rudy. Anyways, you want to learn how to make primitive things, you watch the Urban Aboriginal. Rudy's got a lot of stuff. Anyways, the twist technique. So don't forget some. Worth it. Hand washing clothes, etc. Make twine rope, not... When the lights go out, folks, if the internet gets shut down, and it got shut down on me a couple of days ago, last week, I was like, this is crazy. And I keep asking myself, how did the people get along in 1990, in 1980, in 1970? How did the people get along without the internet? Having every encyclopedic answer ready at your fingertips. Having access to government functions, corporate functions, having your own store available and open to the entire world. Kind of like the preparedmind.club. Anywhere on the planet, you can go there and see what it is that we're telling people they need to have to get prepared. Right? We have affiliate links there. We don't really sell anything direct, folks. We just put you in touch with those people who sell items needed for SHTF. And they don't come from Walmart, they don't come from Target, and they don't come from Amazon. That's how I like to do business, the good old-fashioned way. Body armor, bullets, beans, and Band-Aids, as Kaz loves to say. I tell you what, folks, yeah, what a world we're in. Okay, we're waiting for someone to see if they can guess. Who said that, right? I prefer dangerous freedom to peaceful slavery. All right, I think I saw Heidi on there. Heidi. It is Heidi 12. Hey, Heidi, hope you're all well up there. She says, why is it that these sanctuary cities don't have facilities or funds to take care of illegals? Well, in the great state of California, which I think is and of itself now an entire, not just city that has sanctuary written all over it, but the state itself, right? They're set up, and I don't think that they have facilities and funding. Hell, we'll just tax the taxpayers and give it to these illegals. But here I have this, Heidi. This is Democrat DC Mayor Bow Wow Bowser. And she says this, quote, we're not a border town. We don't have the infrastructure to handle this type of immigration to our city. We're not Texas. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, folks. As if cities 1/100th the size of DC are capable of open border. Right? What a freaking idiot. And Texas, it doesn't have the money, it doesn't have the facilities to deal with millions of people pouring over its borders. It doesn't have that. But DC gets 50 illegals bust in, and they scream and yell and claim it is a state of emergency. Martha's Vineyard says they have a humanitarian crisis. And the White House won't address this. Right? It takes Hillary Clinton to threaten DeSantis and Abbott. It takes some ridiculous, retarded Texas sheriff. And I'm going to stand by that claim. If he thinks that what DeSantis is doing is wrong, but what Biden is doing is fine. Oh, I still want to know. If you find enough information, are you going to send your deputies all the way to Florida and try and arrest Governor DeSantis? I think every Floridian over there would have something to say about that. All right, let's do this. Woo! Get your questions into Jolene. I know we got more. We got Bonnie Blue 2A. Thank you, Bonnie Blue, for showing up. Always bringing good topics to the channel. And she writes, I read an article this morning that now the Southern slang words of howdy and y'all are racist trigger words. This is fascinating and disgusting. So we know that the South, where I am now currently located, and how many times have you heard me say y'all? I have a hard time doing it. Hey, y'all, get over here. Y'all shut the fuck up about that. But you know what y'all means? It's you all contracted, kind of like don't is do not, and can't is cannot. Well, y'all is you all. But because it's considered Southern, it's a Southern accent, a Southern slang, a Southern colloquialism. Y'all is racist now. Well, y'all that think that are freaking stupid. Anyways, let us move on. Y'all. Why do they want to take words away from Southerners? Well, because Southerners are pro-freedom, pro-liberty. And isn't it amazing how all those Yanks from up north are coming to the South now because they want freedom? How much more tyrannical is the government of Washington, D.C.? How much more tyrannical are the Democrat governors and mayors up north that the people of the North are heading for the South? Where y'all good people live, where y'all got freedom. And howdy is one of those words I've always enjoyed, even though I'm a West Coast California boy. Right? I love howdy. I love interesting words and expressions. Unbelievable. Folks, I have a huge speech by DeSantis. I want to read it, but I don't think we got that kind of time. Let's do this. Let's get to your comments and questions. And it's Charlanator stepping right up. And she writes this: if God destroys the world, it's because it's become Sodom. Well, it truly has. But I think when, Lot went to Sodom and he was told, find 10 good men and we'll spare it, said the angels. And Lot came back, says, I can't, don't have them. And they worked it all the way down. If there's just one good man, I'll spare this town, Sodom, right? Sodom and Gomorrah. And he couldn't find one good person. In my opinion, Charlanator, the world has not become Sodom. But these sodomites, these sick, perverted bastards who want everyone else to accept their perversions and to promote it and shout it from the rooftops as being good and normal. And that's the problem. The mainstream media, the politicians, the World Economic Forum, who wants to destroy our country, they know they have to do it from the inside. It has to domestically be destroyed by the people living within it and the people running the country. They know they can't win a war, folks. They can't win a war against our military if it's truly patriotic and fully functional. So they just needed to put people in place in the Pentagon, in the State Department, in the White House, and in Congress. They need to put in their people. And they need their people in the mainstream media. And they need their people in colleges and schools and primary schools to start pushing their sodomistic perversions. Right? Minor attracted person, really? Really? Minor attracted person? Because you came up with some really interesting words. It makes victimizing the innocent okay. It's not okay to victimize the innocent. It just isn't. You can't excuse it away. But leave it up to Democrats to try. Folks, there are sodomites, right? They're all over the place. In fact, I believe Bill Clinton sodomized Monica Lewinsky with a cigar. What a world. Okay, Jolene, what have we got next? Who do we got next? What are we going to do? Yankee Watchdog steps up and says, Thomas Jefferson. Well, I thought it was Alexander Madison or James Hamilton or Sir Richard Burton. Nope. I tell you what, it's a great quote and I love it. Thank you very much. Heidi says Franklin. No, I think it actually was James Madison. I think it was, but shoot. Mikey G says Madison. The other thing I have with some of these quotes is Some quotes are attributed to our founding fathers, and it can't be proven. Kind of like the story, the fable, the myth about Benjamin Franklin coming out of the Continental Congress. Was it the Continental Congress? I believe so. And they came up with the Constitution. Now remember, the United States of America was brought into Confederation. Not in the 1800s, folks, in the 1700s. After England said, okay, we quit, you Americans can be free. We had the Articles of Confederation. And that was kind of a failure. So they went back into, and I don't think it was a bad failure. I just think there was a lot of chicanery going on out there, a lot of problems. So we had, let me get rid of, what is this stuff? We had Congress go back into session and write up a new set of federal rules to govern our international status as a nation, as the United States. And when he came out, it is fabled that a woman asked him, Mr. Franklin, what is it that you have given us? And reportedly, Benjamin Franklin said, a republic, madam, if you can keep it. And that's the struggle we're in right now, folks. Can we keep our precious republic? I sure hope we can. But, those founding fathers fought for freedom and gave us a republic. And today we have a chance, you and I, and I'm calling on you to think patriotically. Today, you and I have a chance. And the same with tomorrow and the next day and the day after, into the foreseeable and the unforeseeable future. We have a chance to be as courageous and patriotic as our founding fathers. Truly, folks, we have a chance to be that. We may not have our names in lights. We may not be in textbooks later. Right? I don't expect there to be a book with George Washington on the cover and then me next to him saying, these guys are practically the same. I don't expect that, and I don't think any of us really do. But we all will have a part to play. Right? Will you be a nobody who doesn't care and just says whatever happens, happens? Will you be a traitor to this country, to freedom, liberty, the human spirit, and God's will? Or will you be a patriot and fight for freedom, fight for your rights, fight to protect your family and our nation and our way of life? You are going to have that chance. And it starts right now, this very minute, with your choice, your decision. All right, let's see what we got next, Jolene. We got David Hastings. He says, my daughter is U.S. Army captain. Can't get it into her head what we are heading into. What else can I do? Well, what I would do is ask her, what is more important, your oath or your career as an officer in the military? And you can remind her, your oath is to protect and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, is it not? And the answer should be, yes, that's my oath. And then you can ask the question, dearest daughter, are you required and can you be compelled to obey an unlawful order? And she should say, no, I cannot be compelled nor ordered to do so. If I do so and follow an unlawful order, I do it of my own free will and volition. And I can't blame anyone else for carrying out those illegal, unlawful, unconstitutional, ungodly orders. And that's about all you can do, man. Just point to her oath, point to the Constitution. You can point to the Nuremberg trial and talk about Nazis all you want. They'll probably just offend her. I'm not a Nazi. Of course not. Of course you're not. But are you willing to follow an unlawful order? Are you willing to follow an order that results in the restriction and removal of rights by the people of the United States? Are you willing to follow an order that violates your oath? Right? The oath to obey the president ends not where the president says, but when the order becomes unlawful or violates the Constitution or violates any person's good senses and morality. If an order is immoral, I will not follow it. Unjust, I will not follow it. But know this, folks, war is hell. World War III, we're in the middle of it right now. They just haven't launched any nuclear weapons yet. Let's move on if we shall. Thank you, David, and good luck with your daughter in all sincerity. Bonnie Blue says, great article on the organic prepper, who is Daisy Luther, on crimes as a sign of collapse. Picked up also on Zero Hedge. Worth a read and watching the article video. Folks, there's so many good people out there spreading the word, sharing, shall we say, the gospel of freedom. Crime is a signal of collapse. Now, folks, at all times around the world, crime happens. Whether or not you have a legitimate, functioning, strong, moral, decent government, or a third-class banana republic pile of shit country run by a bunch of socialist sycophant morons, which is what we now have in the United States of America, in most places. And those are definitely Democrat-run. Now, the problem isn't crime as a sign of collapse, in my opinion. But I just want to put a sharper point on the point that you have made here, Bonnie. When crime is allowed to persist, when crime is used by a tool of the government, the tool of tyrants, by allowing crime to happen and rewarding crime, like illegal immigrants or the 2020 protests, and when government itself becomes the criminal purveyors and the criminal perverts of the system, that's when you know we're at the collapse. So is government allowing crime? Yes. Is crime running out of control? Yes. Are government organizations committing crime themselves instead of enforcing good, wholesome laws and protecting the people? The answer is yeah. Just take a look at the FBI, the Attorney General's office, the Department of Justice all together. And then look at the police departments in states and look at the legislatures and governors in states. Are they allowing people to commit crimes like in Illinois, where they won't be held, they won't be arrested, they won't be prosecuted, even in the case of many felonies? But remember this, folks, if you're a Republican, you will be held to the letter of the law and anything they want to make up, in fact. All right, let's do this. We got another question. I'm running out of time, and it's Charles Gentry. And Charles Gentry has food for thought as we end this episode of the Prepared Mind Q&A. Quote, a person convinced against their will remains unconvinced. This is some philosophy for you, right? A person convinced against their will remains unconvinced because it's against their will. There are mind games and mind exercises, if you will. I don't want to use the word games because that refers to something else. But mind or mental exercises, philosophical exercises. You should be able to ask yourself a question and then invert that question and see if the same applies. There's a lot of exercises you can do mentally to sharpen your mind. But understand, folks, if we go Mad Max, if we get World War III on the streets, right, we're going to be operating under a completely different set of rules. And it's going to fall back. Are you ready up here? I think you will be if you're fully prepared. Not just with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, but the prepared mind. Help others achieve this by telling them, wake up. Don't listen to me, but wake up and go listen to that John guy. Listen to these other people out there who are talking about crime and what's going on with kids and what's going on with the White House and what's going on around the world. Get people to wake up. Chance favors the prepared mind. Aren't you glad you are a prepper? Semper Fi to you all means always faithful. And Godspeed. I'll be back 0 dark 30 once again because I have to. And I want to thank all of you for supporting the channel, our efforts, for supporting Jolene, for supporting Uman, for supporting Chris with your kind words, comments, and your actions. Talk to you very, very soon.
Let
Oh, and God bless America.